Channel at 10.
Good evening and thanks so much for joining us. Tonight, lawmakers and the governor are having a war of words over possible cuts to Medicaid.
The State Department of Health is sending out letters to nearly 37,000 Medicaid recipients telling them they could lose benefits by July 1st if the state's budget gap isn't filled. But at least one Republican lawmaker says it's a case of fear-mongering. 3's on the street tonight. Justice Henderson is live at UHC with the details on this developing story. Justice.
Jim and Marcel, Governor John Bel Edwards will be here at UHC tomorrow to talk about the budget and its effect on Medicaid and health care. In a tweet today, he offered to work with legislators to find a solution to avoid the cuts. But Acadiana lawmakers that we spoke with today says that the governor's office is simply playing politics. Dan Lewis Coleman's loved ones are worried about what might happen if he loses his Medicaid funding. Right now, Medicaid helps to pay for Coleman to live in a Pineville facility.
He has been there since 1965, 43 years. He's been there since he was 6 years old. So basically, this is the only home that he's ever known.
Without that money, he would have to move out.
We just don't know what we're going to do, and as the way it stands right now, we have not been able to find any solution if he were to be evicted. There's no facility that can take him that can provide for the care that he needs.
And while the Edwards administration and the Department of Health say Coleman and nearly 37,000 others might lose their funding if the budget isn't fixed, some Acadiana lawmakers say that's not true. On Twitter, Lafayette Representative Nancy Landry said no nursing home residents will be kicked to the curb. Acadiana Representative Bob Hensgen said the money will be there to fund long-term care by the July 1st deadline. ERATH Representative Blake Miguez accused the governor of using the situation for political purposes, an attempt to get lawmakers to raise more taxes. Meanwhile, Coleman's loved ones hope that lawmakers and the governor work together to protect the state's most vulnerable people.
And it's really frustrating for both of us.
And even though Medicaid programs are on the chopping block right now, the federal government would have to approve ending any programs before the state decides to terminate them. 3's on the street in Lafayette. Justice Henderson, KETC TV3.
The governor's office and state health officials say claims of Medicaid cuts are not a scare tactic, but in fact a reality. During a news conference today, Commissioner of Administration Jay Darden and Health Department Director Dr. Rebecca G. say they wanted to give Medicaid recipients a heads up before they lose their benefits.
We see these people, we meet with them and the families of this. It is not, this is not something we want to do, but we think it's important to have as much information as possible. I mean, being a caregiver, being someone who needed services myself, I mean, it's fair. It's only fair to them to let them know so they can prepare.